So today we are not in the studio because I'm going to be doing a kind of behind the scenes where it's going to be how to photograph your dog, and I'm going to make this into a series. So today we're going to look at how I pick a location to photograph Murphy. So I'm going to have a little wander around and I'm going to find some locations that work and don't work, and then I will talk you through why I think they're going to work. I'll photograph them and then I'll put the raw up and I'll put the edited one up. I'm going up a hill so I'm out of breath, and then I'll photograph some locations that don't work and then I'll explain why I feel that they won't work. So I'm looking forward to this one. So this is going to be our first one I feel like it's not going to work. Wife picked this one out, and I don't mean that bad to her, but she likes the V of this tree, and the reason I said it isn't going to work is things like this here, I could remove them in Photoshop. Things like these I'm probably going to get in, and then I feel like the background is a little bit too busy. So we'll photograph it, see how it works, and then maybe I'll jump into Photoshop or stay in Lightroom and then remove them, and then we'll see how it looks. But I don't think that this one will work. Alright, so as I mentioned at location number one, this one just didn't work for me. So let's jump into the computer and take a look a little bit more in depth as to why and the things that you maybe need to look for when you're taking your picture. Alright, so this is the image that I got on the first location. This one has been edited. So the image on the left is straight out of camera, that's the raw, and then on the right hand side is, like I say, that's the one that's been edited. And as you can see here, this image is just far too busy and far too cluttered. You've got bits growing out the side of Murphy, and then you've got these bits the side of his head, and then there's these things at the top, and then also these things that you've got on the side here. These ones, if they were just there on their own, that's not that distracting. I could remove those in Lightroom, whereas all these gubbins over here, that's just far too busy and a bit too technical to remove in Lightroom. So let's jump into Photoshop and take a little look at what I did in there. So the image on the left is the one that you just saw in Lightroom. The one on the right has been heavily done in Photoshop. So you guys can see the sort of the difference here. I've left a line purposely down the middle because when I took this image, I sort of clipped the tree a little bit too close to the frame. So if you take a look on the right hand side, what I actually did was I extended the image out, and then I took parts of this tree here to extend this tree just to help the composition for me personally a little bit better. And again, if you look at the image on the left to the image on the right, you can see that I've removed these little distractions way in the background, and then the bits by Murphy's head. I also removed his buckle. I found that was a little bit distracting. And then these simple ones that you've got just on the side, this little bit of a white thing at the bottom there. So there you can see the sort of things that you need to be super aware of when you're taking an image. Oh, I also added a sort of a sun flare up here also, but these are the sort of things that you want to be aware of when you're taking a picture, that you don't have like super distracting things pulling the eye away from your subject. Alright, so let's jump to location number 2 and see what we get there. So because it's quite bright out, I've purposely picked a shaded area. So just because it's sunny out doesn't mean you can't photograph, you just need to find a shaded area. So I really like this area of the photograph and I like what's behind me. So when I take this image, what I need to do is try and point the camera this sort of angle to keep those bits out. So I'll take a couple of shots and then hopefully this one works because I really like this location. So I was super excited by location number 2 because I really liked the log that was in the foreground. I also liked the trees at the back of Murphy, and I really thought that this one was going to work well with my editing style. However, I do not like this image, and I'm not 100% sure why I don't like it. I just don't, but I will show you a before and after anyway. So let's jump in and take a little look. Okay, so this is the image that I finally got and edited. So on the left again is the one straight out of camera. Again, on the one on the right is the one I've edited. This one I just do not like, and I'm not 100%, like I say, I'm just not sure why I don't like it. I think that the highlights on Murphy's face are a little bit too hard, and then I've got my edit going on and I just don't like it, and it's a real shame because I love the greens and I love this log that's breaking down here, but unfortunately I just do not like this image. So let's jump to location number 3 and see what we get there. So this is a super cool location. So what I can do is I'm going to frame, so I've got this on the one side and then I've got this on the other side, and by doing that, that's going to lock you guys into the frame. I also have this moss here which looks super cool, and that'll go really cool with my edit. And then if you look at the back, what I can do through the trees then is I can maybe add a little sun flare, and then that'll just make the image pop a little bit. Quick tip with sun flares, be super aware of where the sun is coming from. If the sun was coming over there, I then couldn't add a sun in behind me. Just think about that before you add a sun flare in. So location number 3, the second I saw it, I was super pumped and super excited that I knew it was going to work really well, like I thought the second location would. But this one I was super excited about, because let's jump in and I'll just show you the trees and the moss that we've got going on and the highlights that were behind Murphy. So let's jump in and take a little look. So this is the image that I got and has also been edited. The one on the left now is the straight out of camera, that's the raw, and then again on the right is the one that I edited. The reason I liked this location is because of these trees. I feel like, again, these trees are going to frame you and they're going to keep you in the image. You're not going to start wandering off, because you're almost going to hit the tree and then that's going to force you back into Murphy. And also it's not that distracting of a background. So things that I did in Photoshop, which we'll jump into in a second, I removed this bit here. I also added a sun flare. So let's jump into Photoshop and take a little look at that. So on the left hand side is the image that you just saw in Lightroom. The one on the right has been edited in Photoshop just a little bit. So if you take a look on the one on the left, I've removed this little stick here. I found that was a little bit distracting. This thing that's sort of wrapping around the tree, I didn't feel that was overly distracting because of the colour of it, so I didn't remove that. And then if we take a look at the top leftish of the right image, I also added a sun flare, a highlight to just make the image pop a little bit. And again, I don't think I mentioned that the moss, I absolutely love moss in images, and I really feel like it works really well with my editing style. So again, that was why I loved this location. So let's jump to the final location and see what we get there. So this area where I am at the moment is super cool. So let me show you around real quick, and if I can get an image, I've never been able to get an image in here. If I can get an image, I'll put it on the screen for you. Let me show you around. So I absolutely love this location that we were at here. I've been to this location so many times, but I can never find a composition because there's just so much going on with the way the trees are bending, and I find it really distracting and hard to find a composition. So I think I actually found one today. So let's jump in to the computer and take a little look at the image that I got. Okay, so this is the image that I got at location, and let's take a look. So on the left is the straight out of camera, and on the right hand side is the image that I edited. So actually you can probably see, we'll just take a quick look at quite how underexposed Murphy is, and the reason is I had to expose for the highlights, which then later in editing you can just pull your shadows up just because they hold a little bit more detail. So there's a little tip for you. So Murphy actually did this thing of looking up at whatever he was looking up in the trees, and the second I saw him do that, I knew I wanted this image and I knew exactly what I was going to do with it. So let's jump into Photoshop and take a little look what I did in there. So again, image on the left is the one that you guys just saw in Lightroom, and the one on the right hand side is the one that I've edited in Photoshop. So straight off the bat you can see that I've added a butterfly. I also added the sun flare highlight here, and if you jump to the left hand image for a second, you can see this tree that's sort of growing the back of Murphy's head. It's coming up to the top of the image. For me, that is super distracting, and I felt that needed to be removed. So then if you take a look at the right image, that's the final image of removing it. It just feels a little bit better. Yes, you've got all these trees in the background, but for me, I don't feel like they're as distracting as what this one was just here. So I couldn't really go around and remove all these because that was sort of part of the image. However, that one was just a little bit too distracting, so that was why I removed that one. So let's head back to location where me and wifey enjoy a cup of coffee. I'll sign off there, but I'll also sign off here. So guys, thank you so much for watching this little bit, and then I'll let me sign off that end and do what I do there. So see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you found some value in it. If you did, be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also hit the bell icon to notify you of any up and coming videos. And we're going to make coffee now and just have a little chill and enjoy that. So guys, thank you so much again for watching, and we'll see you soon.